안녕하세요.
The heavy air in the meeting room seemed to suffocate Minji as she stepped away from Ji-hoon. His gaze, filled with determination, still burned in her mind. They had taken an important step, but the reality of the situation had not fully sunk in for her. How could she live with the decision she had to make? There was too much at stake, far more than just the love between them. After that day, their interactions began to change. The words exchanged between them were deeper, more intense, yet also more cautious. What once seemed like a simple, inevitable love had now become a minefield of difficult choices and unpredictable consequences. Minji felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. She loved Ji-hoon, but she also knew that he was not just dealing with the desire to be with her. He was fighting against an empire he had built through sweat and sacrifice. And his family, well, they would never accept their relationship, especially once they knew the truth. It was with this uncertainty that she found herself on a cold morning inside the company's cafe, sitting across from her friend and co-worker, Soo-jung. Soo-young looked concerned. Minji could see it in her eyes. The question was Minji ready to face reality? She still didn't know. "You don't have to make this decision alone, Minji," Soo-young said, stirring her coffee with a worried expression. "I understand what you feel for him, but reality is different. I've seen how his family reacts to these things, and if Ji-hoon continues with you, it will affect his career, your life, everything." Minji felt Soo-jung's piercing gaze on her. She knew her friend was right, but the thought of letting go of Ji-hoon was harder than she had ever imagined. "I know Soo-young, but I love him," Minji whispered. "I can't stop thinking about him, but what about the consequences? He has a massive company, a powerful family, and a public image he can't risk. And I'm just an employee." Soo-young sighed. "Minji, you are not just an employee. You're intelligent, dignified, and most importantly, you deserve to be happy. But yes, I understand the dilemma. I can't give you the right answer. But one thing is clear. You need to talk to him, to Ji-hoon. If you don't have the courage to face this, you'll live with regrets." Soo-young's words echoed in her mind for the rest of the day. She needed to be brave enough to face the challenges, to confront the consequences, and to fight for their love, or at least to try. What else could she do but try? And that was exactly what Minji did. When the clock marked the end of the workday, she headed to Ji-hoon's office. Her mind was a storm of emotions, fears, hopes, uncertainties. She knew what needed to be done, and she was ready to hear his truth. Ji-hoon was seated at his desk, his eyes still restless. He looked more exhausted than usual. When he lifted his head and saw Minji, something in his expression changed. He knew that what was coming would not be easy. "Minji," he began, but she interrupted him. "I can't stay on the fence anymore, Ji-hoon," she said firmly. "I need to know where we stand. What are you willing to do for us? Are you willing to fight, even if it means losing your position, your family? What is more important to you?" Ji-hoon stood up from his chair and took a few steps toward her, the weight of her words hanging in the air. He looked into her eyes, his expression serious yet full of emotion. "I don't know if I can guarantee that I won't lose anything, Minji, but I can guarantee that I'm willing to fight for us. I can't live without you anymore. If it means losing my family or even my company, then so be it. I'm no longer the man who lives only for the success of my career. I'm the man who lives for you." Minji's heart pounded harder. Ji-hoon's words reached her soul, but she knew how dangerous this path would be. "And your family? They will never accept this. I don't care what they think. Not when what I want is you. I will fight against everything I have to fight. Are you with me, Minji? Can we make this work no matter what happens?" The tension in the air between them was palpable, but there was also a growing strength, an energy that connected them even more. Minji took a deep breath, and for the first time, she felt that maybe, just maybe, she was ready to face the consequences by his side. "Yes, Ji-hoon, I'm with you. Let's make this work together." He smiled a smile that carried the relief of finally making the right choice. They didn't know what the future held. Ji-hoon's car glided down the road with an apparent calm, but the atmosphere inside the vehicle was tense. Minji, sitting beside him, couldn't avoid the whirlwind of thoughts invading her mind. The decision they had made was big, risky, and both knew it wouldn't be easy. The pressure, not just from their own insecurities, but also from family expectations and the company, hung over them like a dark cloud. Ji-hoon seemed calmer, but his fixed gaze ahead betrayed the intensity of his thoughts. "Min-ji," he began, his voice soft yet firm. "Everything that has happened until now, the obstacles, the difficulties, none of it matters anymore. What matters is that we're together, and that's all I want." Min-ji looked at him, feeling the warmth of his words, but also the weight of everything still to come. "I know, Ji-hoon, but I can't help but worry. Your family, the company, it won't be easy, and you'll suffer the consequences. I don't want to be the cause of that." He took her hand, his touch firm, offering silent support. "I don't care about the consequences. I can handle them. And honestly, nothing else matters if we're not together. I won't go back, Min-ji. I chose you." Min-ji swallowed hard, her fear slowly giving way to courage. Ji-hoon's words made her feel that maybe, just maybe, she had the strength to face what was coming. "Then we'll face this together," she said, her voice steadier than she expected. They arrived at the restaurant, and Min-ji felt the weight of the moment. The place was sophisticated, elegantly decorated, but she couldn't focus on the details. Her mind was consumed by the meeting ahead, the inevitable confrontation with Ji-hoon's mother, Lady Kang. As they were led to their table, the restaurant doors opened, and the imposing figure of Lady Kang entered. She scanned the room, her gaze emotionless, until she found Ji-hoon and Min-ji. Her eyes, though cold, fixed on them, and Min-ji felt a shiver run down her spine. The woman walked toward them with determined steps, her gaze critical and judgmental. The silence between them grew heavier with her approach. "Ji-hoon," Lady Kang said, her voice soft but filled with authority, "I knew you were involved with someone, but I didn't expect it to be someone like this. Who is she?" Ji-hoon didn't hesitate, looking directly into his mother's eyes. "She is Min-ji, mother, and she is the person I have chosen to be with." Min-ji felt her stomach twist at the woman's imposing tone, but she tried to stay strong. Lady Kang looked at her with a mixture of disdain and anger, before turning back to Ji-hoon. "Do you even know what you're doing, Ji-hoon? This woman is just an office worker, not someone from our class. You cannot be serious about this. What will this mean for our family? For the company?" Her words hit like stones, making Min-ji feel small, insignificant. But she knew she had to respond, that she couldn't remain silent. "I am not just an employee," she said, her voice trembling but determined. "I am a person, and I love Ji-hoon. It doesn't matter what you think of me." Lady Kang looked at her with a mixture of rage and scorn before turning to Ji-hoon again. "This is a mistake. I cannot allow you to destroy everything we have built with this choice." Her tone was cold, as if trying to convince Ji-hoon to reconsider, to regret it. But Ji-hoon stood firm, looking directly at his mother. "I won't change my mind, mother. I chose Min-ji, and there is nothing you can do to change that." Lady Kang remained silent for a moment, her hands tightening around her purse. She seemed to be weighing her words, calculating the consequences. But finally, she sighed in resignation. "Then stay with her, Ji-hoon. But remember that all your choices have consequences. I just hope you're prepared to face them." With those words, she turned and without another word, left the restaurant, leaving a heavy silence in the air. Min-ji stood there, stunned, but also feeling a small wave of relief. She knew the battle was far from over, but Ji-hoon's decision made her feel more confident. He was willing to fight for her, and that meant the world. Ji-hoon looked at her, a slight smile forming on his lips. "We'll get through this, Min-ji, together." She smiled timidly, though her mind was still full of questions about the future. But one thing was certain, they were willing to face whatever came, and for her, that was enough. After the tense encounter with Ji-hoon's mother, the following week dragged on with a lingering sense of uncertainty. Despite Ji-hoon's promise that they would face all obstacles together, Min-ji felt the weight of family and societal expectations. Curious glances and whispered conversations in the office hallways were constant, and she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched at all times. Ji-hoon, on the other hand, seemed more determined than ever. He knew he had made an important decision, but he also knew he would have to fight for it. He had made it clear to everyone in the company that Min-ji would not be pushed aside, that she would not be left behind as just another employee. But the pressure was mounting, and it was not easy to endure the judgmental eyes of society. On a cold morning, Ji-hoon arrived at the office with a serious expression. He had an important meeting with the company's board, and the rumors about his relationship with Min-ji were still spreading. When Min-ji saw him, she noticed the tension in his shoulders and in his gaze. He was about to face yet another challenge. Ji-hoon, Min-ji said softly as he approached her desk. "Are you okay? I know things haven't been easy." He smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'm fine, Min-ji. Just a little tired of fighting, but that's part of the choice I made. I just need you to know that there's no turning back. Even if the world is against us, I will keep fighting." Her heart tightened at his words. The difficulties were great, but their love seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. He was willing to sacrifice everything for their happiness, and that made her want to fight too. She looked at him with determination. "I'm with you, Ji-hoon, always." The board meeting was as difficult as Ji-hoon had expected. Many of the executives questioned his decision to keep Min-ji in a position of importance, and some of the more conservative voices urged him to reconsider. But Ji-hoon stood his ground. When it was his turn to speak, he rose from his seat and, with a commanding voice, declared, "I know many of you are uncomfortable with my decision, but let me be clear. Min-ji is not just my secretary. She is a capable, intelligent person who deserves respect. No matter what you think, she will remain by my side, and together, we will take this company to the next level." Ji-hoon's words sounded like a challenge, and many fell silent. His firm stance made even the more hesitant board members begin to reconsider their opinions. Despite the challenges, Ji-hoon was not willing to give in to external pressure. Min-ji, who had been watching the meeting from afar, felt a wave of pride. Seeing Ji-hoon defend her with such passion and conviction made her feel stronger. He was fighting not just for them, but for her as well. No matter what lay ahead, she knew that with Ji-hoon by her side, nothing was impossible. That evening, after work, Ji-hoon invited her to dinner at a quiet restaurant, far from the prying eyes and gossip. As they sat down, the comfortable silence between them was broken by Ji-hoon. "I know we still have a long road ahead, but I'm ready for everything, Min-ji. With you by my side, there's nothing I can't face. I want you to be my wife. I want to build a future with you, a family, a life together." Ji-hoon's words were simple, yet they carried immense meaning. Min-ji looked at him, her eyes filling with emotion. She knew that despite the hardships they would still face, the love they shared would make them unstoppable. She smiled, a single tear escaping from her eye. "I want that too, Ji-hoon. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Ji-hoon gently pulled her closer, and in that moment, nothing else mattered except their love. They had chosen each other, and now, together, they would face any obstacle, any judgment. The future lay ahead of them, promising and bright. In a simple yet meaningful gesture, Ji-hoon took her hand and squeezed it. "We'll face this together, Min-ji. Nothing else matters." The sky was clear, and the full moon illuminated their lives, reflecting the hope and love they now shared. The journey ahead would still be long, but with each other, they were ready for whatever the future held.